Mikey. Hi, Thomasina. Whoop, 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 whoop. Where are we today? We are under the baobab tree. Baobab? What tree is that? This one right behind us. Oh, I did not know the monkey tree was called the baobab. Do you know the baobab is a native of Africa and it can store water in its huge trunk. Wow, Mikey, you are one smart monkey. No wonder we humans have evolved from you guys. No, silly. Humans have not evolved from monkeys. They have evolved from apes. Okay. I was just trying to make a connection here. But there is no need to make a connection. Humans and animals have been entwined for a long time. Let me tell you the story of humans and animals. Humans and animals have shared a relationship that has endured from ancient times all the way to the present. Humans' earliest relationship with animals was one that was need-based for food and shelter. They would hunt animals for their meat as well as use their skins for clothing themselves or making homes. This early hunting can be seen in cave paintings from Bhimbetka. This helped humans realize the use of animals and they started domesticating them. Horses, camels, even elephants were used by humans. During the Harappan civilization too, animals have been used for agricultural purposes. But once humans realized how to capture animals, exploitation for their skin, bones, and feathers began. Humans started hunting animals, taking over natural habitats to build homes for themselves. A hunting scene can be seen in these vases. However, it's not all sad. Not everyone wanted to exploit animals. They used them as a source of inspiration too. The traits each animal possesses have inspired art and craft. By observing animals and their behavior, humans came to fear or befriend them and began to link them to certain qualities like power, ferocity, stealth, wisdom, and many more. Rulers would often use animal symbols of power that people were familiar with to broadcast their authority and establish their power to other rulers. As you can see in this coin, Demetrius I, an Indo-Greek king, is shown wearing an elephant headdress to emphasize his conquest of India. Not just coins. Even weapons and shields were inspired from animals. A Nagin sword that you see here resembles the fearsome snake. This shield that you see is made from a terrapin shell. Just like turtles and tortoises use their shells for protection, humans used this shell shield to defend themselves. By the way, I'm sure all of you love listening to stories. But have you noticed most of these stories have animals in them? These animals help us learn the values of harmony, peace, friendship, honesty, and hard work through their various roles in the stories. The tradition of storytelling through animal characters has been going on from ancient times and is still continued today. Take a look at all these animals shown in these different stories. These stories impart values, entertain, and seek to enlighten young minds about the world around them. Stories become legends, legends become myths, and more often than not, these myths have fantastical beasts in them. What makes these beasts fantastic, you might ask? Many of these creatures are made up of one or more animals and are usually very, very strong and powerful. They possess qualities of wisdom, bravery, righteousness, and are often superior to humans. They at times help humans, even test them, or bestow them with magical powers or grant their wishes. Let's look at a few fantastical creatures we have found for you. The lion is the king of the jungle. But why is that so? Because when in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion takes a stroll, every other animal runs away. The lion is a majestic beast known for its power, bravery, and mighty roar. These qualities impressed humans, especially the rulers, who wanted everyone to know that they were the king of their kingdom. Hence, many palaces had sculptures of lions in them, just like these stone reliefs that you see. The Gupta kings of India minted gold coins with images of them as lion slayers. Not just a symbol, the lion was even a god. The ancient Egyptians worshipped goddess Sekhmet. Just look at her. She had the head of a lioness and was known to be a protector and destroyer. Even in our country, India, our national emblem is that of the Sarnath lion capital of Ashoka, the Mauryan king. It has 4 lions on it. The lion was such an influential animal that even in places where it wasn't naturally found, people loved to hear stories about this majestic and brave beast. They built sculptures of it all over just by listening to its description. The Shishi or guardian lions of China are an example of the influence the king of the jungle had on us humans. Animals are beautiful, mysterious, fascinating, influential, and even at times exotic. These characteristics make all animals unique and popular to such an extent that, unfortunately, these once upon a time free beasts are now being captured and deprived of their freedom. Many of them are still being illegally hunted by poachers, and parts of their body, like tusks, horns, feathers, claws, scales, and even skin, are sold as commodities or precious items in the black market. These harmful activities have led to the reduction in animal populations. Many animals that were once found in huge numbers are now at the risk of being wiped out from the face of the earth. The northern white rhinos are now soon to become extinct. Turtles have been on our planet since the time of the dinosaurs. But these reptiles are now endangered. The major threat to them is plastic pollution, both in our oceans and on our beaches. Apart from this, these poor creatures suffer injuries because of being caught in fishing nets along with other fishes. As they are not the intended catch, fishermen will throw them back into the ocean. These injured turtles find it very difficult to survive. However, saving the natural world is in our hands. When we look around us, we can observe how closely connected we are to the animal kingdom, even in our everyday busy city lives. Several animals, birds, and insects share the same spaces as us and play an important role in maintaining a balance in the ecosystem. How can we help them? It could be as simple as leaving out some water and seeds for birds to feed on, switching off lights at night to ensure that we don't disorient their sense of time, and doing our bit by planting trees that give them sources of food and shelter. There is so much humans have learnt and are still learning from animals. Now let's go meet Mr. Abodh Aras. the CEO of Welfare of Stray Animals, and let's listen to what he has to say about some of our furry and feathery friends.
Good morning and welcome to this presentation. My name is Abodh Aras and I'm from the Welfare of Stray Dogs, and I'm going to take you through a world of our street dogs, especially dogs that are in Mumbai. So what is the origin of the domestic dog? You all must be knowing that we have a 12,000-year-old relationship with them. It is said that a domesticated dog, which is a Canis familiaris, is a direct descendant of the grey wolf, the Canis lupus. In fact, it's suggested that both of them have a 99% DNA match. One theory also suggests that early human beings captured wolf pups and domesticated them. So, coming to the history of the Mumbai street dogs, did you actually know that the Parsis rioted to stop the killing of street dogs in Mumbai way back in 1832? This has been well documented in the Marathi book Mumbaiche Varnan, written by Govind Narayan, and also in a paper written by Jesse Palsetia. Street dogs, of course, that time, very sadly, were regularly caught and killed by the British. But the situation got very tense on 6 June 1932, a holy day for the Parsis, when the police started rounding up dogs and actually entering into people's homes and taking them away. This was in the fort area, and that's why you can see in the photograph, this is a photograph of the church gate, the gate that was, you could enter into the fort. And this is how, the Parsis really, fought tooth and nail, and it actually became a riot. And after that, the rest of the communities also joined the protest. There was a strike, and like they said, all this is history. But later, prominent citizens like Jamshedji Jijiboy petitioned the British not to kill the dogs and to capture them. And this is how in 1834 the Bombay Panjra pole was established and the dogs were taken there. So street dogs continued to be killed by the municipal corporation till 1994, and they thought it was the best way to control the street dog population, to eliminate human rabies deaths, and also to reduce the problems caused by street dogs. But all this did not help because the street dog population never went down, human rabies deaths didn't go down, and this was because dogs are territorial, and the moment you remove dogs from an area, it creates a vacuum and other dogs come in and multiply. And that's why organizations like WSD started what is called the Animal Birth Control or the Sterilization Program. So whose dogs are the street dogs anyway? Most of the street dogs are looked after by somebody or the other. They are also pets of the underprivileged. What we call stray dogs are actually what the World Health Organization says are free roaming pets. So maybe there is a boot polish wala, a chai wala, a policeman, somebody who lives in the building, somebody who lives on the streets. They all are these people. These are the people who actually are looking after the dogs, and they give them names like Kalu, Raju, Tommy, and so on. And here are some of the amazing people that look after street dogs, like this little one who adopted this puppy, and it's family for him. Or Arvind, the shoe shine man or the boot polish wala, who used to live outside Eros Theatre and name all the dogs that he had after Bollywood stars or Hollywood films. So he had a Pretty because of Pretty Woman, he had James because of James Bond, and when Kahona Pyar Hai was released, he named the dogs Ritik and Amisha. And meet Dhoni, who used to actually look after the baby when this lady used to go out for work, and he used to live with about 4 people and 2 other dogs and some cats in this little kholi in a slum very near our kennels at Mahalakshmi. And this physically challenged person who lives outside a school, but his best friend is Tommy, who's always with him. And this shoe shine man at Churchgate Station, whenever he's working, he has Rani for company. And this lady, who's a rag picker, looks after many dogs on the streets. And two of her dogs are named Chowpati and Baikala because they were brought from Chowpati and Baikala when they were puppies. Now let me introduce you to some of the street dogs that I have known in the past 20 years. These dogs, just like all of us, have their own likes and dislikes, have a story, have their own idiosyncrasies and quirks, and are looked after and loved by somebody or the other. So traffic was called traffic because the traffic policeman used to look after him. He lived on the junction at Fountain, and the policeman used to feed him and give him biscuits. They used to say that he must have been a traffic policeman in his last janam because whenever they hauled up anybody for a traffic offense, he used to go there and stand in guard. And next is a dog named Hole. He was named Hole because he was found as a puppy inside a rat hole and he was rescued from there by the manager of a church. He hangs around near Sterling Theatre and he roams this whole area and he's such a happy dog and a joy to know. And Captain lived at Shivaji Park. Unfortunately, last year he passed away, but he actually used to run in the Mumbai Marathon. If you ask any of the marathoners, they'll all know Captain because the first time we found him, at the finish line and we didn't know where he was from. And then we realized he's from Shivaji Park and he just runs and then goes back to his home, which is the park. And then we have Kalu, who used to live outside Regal Theatre. He loves traveling by our local trains, and once we realized that he followed somebody into a train and went all the way to Bhainder. One of our volunteers noticed and realized that he must be the Regal Kalu and called us, and then we had to get him back. And Periyappa, who was an elderly dog who also passed away last year, lived all his life outside Anand Bhavan in Matunga, and he used to love idlis and dosas, and all the people around him loved him and cared for him. So this is Bogi, who we actually found in a train, and she was traveling from Borivali to Churchgate, and somebody called us, so we had to actually rescue her when the train got in at Churchgate station. She was later adopted and now is living a great life in a home. You've seen and heard about all the wonderful street dogs of Mumbai. Now let me tell you a little bit about the welfare of stray dogs. It's an animal welfare organization based in Mumbai, and we have a center at Shivri and Navy Nagar, and we also run a small sterilization program at Karanje at Uran. We pioneered the street dog sterilization program, and we run other projects like an on-site first aid program. We reimmunize dogs against rabies. We promote the adoption of Indian dogs or indie dogs or street dogs. And we also do a lot of education and awareness about being kind to animals, dog bite prevention, and rabies. Till date, WSD has reached out to over 1,80,000 street dogs through the sterilization, vaccination, on-site first aid, rescue, and adoption. Earlier, I spoke about how killing of street dogs had no impact on human rabies deaths or the stray dog population. Now, after many years of sterilizing dogs, the dog population has gone down and human rabies deaths have gone down drastically. In fact, 2 years ago, it was zero in Mumbai. How does the ABC or the Animal Birth Control Program work? The street dogs are caught by the municipal corporation or by WSD. They are brought to a sterilization center at Sivri. They are sterilized, kept for post-operative care, and when they are being discharged, they are vaccinated against rabies. And how do you know that a dog has been sterilized? You'll see a permanent identification mark on the ear like you see in this photograph. And they need to be released in the same place where they got from, because like I told you earlier, dogs are territorial, and that way they don't allow other dogs to enter their territory. So how can we pitch in and help? Of course, all of us are kind to animals, but if you see any cruelty happening around you, you can report it. You can also check if the dogs and cats in your area are sterilized, or you can contact organizations like the Welfare of Stray Dogs and we can come and do it. We don't charge any money and it's free. If you want to get in a pet, and please remember that it's a big responsibility for the rest of the pet's life, please don't buy and you can adopt. We have lots and lots of dogs at our shelter waiting for a home. You can also spread awareness about the cause. You can come and volunteer with the Welfare of Stray Dogs. We have lot of dogs and cats that love being walked and bathed. You can also buy WSD products. We have t-shirts and bags and mugs. And also you can put out freshwater bowls for the birds or even food for some of the dogs and cats in your neighborhood. Thank you, and you can always contact us with the details which are given in the next slide.
You think finding a home in the city is easy? It's a dog's life.
Missy! Come here, Missy!
They built an airport, a really big one, right where we lived. And we all had to come here. We had to stay inside the gates of the shelter, but it was better than going to another area and getting attacked by other dogs. It was safe inside. I heard Abodh talking to someone. He wanted to find us new homes so he can help more dogs. The thing is, not many people wanted to take us home. It's because of how we are perceived. We are all something called indie. But last I checked, I have the cutest eyes and the strongest paws. My tail wags full speed and my nose is the best food detector out there. In other words, I am an awesome dog. And then one day I was adopted by a human who felt the same. I call the shots here. This is now my forever home. I hope my friends at the shelter find theirs too.
Friends, welcome to the Kala Ghoda Festival. How I wish we could have met in person, rubbing shoulders, visiting stalls, meeting friends. But we can't. The reason, of course, is COVID-19. That doesn't mean we can still not have a very meaningful exchange and have fun in the process. What I'd like to share with you now is something called the survival revolution. All of us, young, middle-aged, old, we've all got a job to do, and that job has everything to do with repairing our biosphere and making our lives safer and happier. So let's start. The survival revolution. Let me start first with an apology. I am sorry, young India. I'm sorry that my generation couldn't look after your world better than we should have. But don't worry, everything is fixable. And that is what the survival revolution is all about. Just look at this. All life emerged in the oceans that surround us right now. And then it conquered the land, and the primates that you see, they're distantly related to us, in fact, The fact is, we are so lucky. Here in India, we are so lucky. What you see now is not just ice and snow, it's the freshwater supply of 1/5 of humanity. These are the glaciers that feed our rivers, that feed our farms, that feed all of us. Forests, actually, what they do is that they staunch the sharp monsoons, and then like a sponge they soak the water and feed aquifers, which are underground lakes, almost underground seas and rivers, you can say. And from there, though the rain falls for only 4 months, the rivers run for 12 full months. And then, of course, as they run, as they proceed along their journey, they feed animals and they feed us too. The world is filled with beauty, absolute beauty. These mushrooms, they have a luminescence about them, and the fact is that they help trees to actually, it's all so complicated, and yet we don't have to understand the machinery fully. We just have to respect it, we have to protect it, we have to love it, we have to cherish it, and we have to let it be. If we let the world be, everything will be all right. We will not have to go into this lockdown situation time and time again. I will come to that and I'll tell you how we can actually escape all this. The tiger? Yes, we've looked to protect the tiger, and we've used the tiger as a metaphor for all of nature. And because we used the tiger as a metaphor for all of nature, we protected its forests. In the process of protecting the forests, we protected all the species that shared its habitat, including elephants. Elephants are the gardeners of our beautiful Eden. And I can tell you this, that there is not a single animal, not the tiger, not the elephant, and not these gharials that live in the Ganga. Just like your mother looks after you, young people, this female gharial will look after her young. And really, if you go through the whole country today, what you will find is that somehow or the other human beings have got it wrong. I don't know why we believe that we are smarter than nature, stronger than nature, and more resilient than nature. We are not. We are very fragile. We are very vulnerable to being punished by nature if we do the wrong thing. But if we do the right thing, please believe me, all will be well. All will be well. The bottom line is, nature needs half. Nature needs half of this planet to be left alone, to be able to perform the functions that they were supposed to perform. These rivers, these forests, these animals that you see, even this butterfly that you see, all of these animals are very positive to life on earth. Let's talk about COVID-19 for a minute, because I think you need to understand that. All the diseases, AIDS, SARS, MERS, swine flu, bird flu, all these things are called zoonotic diseases. And these diseases have come from animals because we have completely mistreated the way in which the planet should be looked after. We have cut forests, we have put poisons in, we have done all manner of things, like even, whether it is chimps or whether it is pangolins or whether it is rhinos, we kill them, we trade in them, and we think that we are doing a lot of wonderful things with our economy. But the abuse of nature has gone on long enough. It's time to call a halt to this. That is one of the reasons why Sanctuary, the organization that I am a part of, has decided that we will go across the country and we will talk to people, including chief ministers, bureaucrats, politicians, everybody, and we are going to say to them a simple thing: the finest infrastructure in the entire world is the infrastructure that has been given to us by nature. These are our forests, our wetlands, our coasts, our corals, our rivers. I cannot even start to tell you how important it is that we realize what the value of these things are, because if we don't, then there will be a problem. COVID-19 came from bats. It spilled on to pangolins, which are the most widely traded mammals in the world today. And then it came to us humans. All these creatures, all these species, they were locked down in their ecosystems of preference, which is the many ecosystems I have referred to. And because we destroyed their homes, these creatures with their viruses came out to us, and now we've got locked down. So this, my dear young Mumbai, This is the lesson that we are teaching young people today through Kids for Tigers, which has a 1 million strong absolute Vanar Sena Green Army. Sanctuary Asia is a magazine that produces information year after year for children and for their parents. And I can assure you that you must become part of this big green army to protect not just the whole of India. Start with your neighborhood, work through right here in Kala Ghoda, for instance. If you look at it, if you go into these beautiful nooks and crannies, you'll find old ancient trees. Along with the history of this city is the history of our living city. Our living heritage and our non-living heritage are one. Kids, you guys have gone and done remarkable things in the past, and we will continue to do remarkable things in the future. Remember one thing: environmental protection is patriotism in action. And you can be part of the solution by supporting your local NGOs and working with Sanctuary. We work with all children, rural children, urban children, children who are 23 years old and children who are 8 years old and even younger. Bottom line, have a wonderful day. It's your duty to be happy. Together we can and we will make this a better world. And thank you, Kala Ghoda, for giving us the opportunity to speak with these wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you. This is Bittu Sahgal signing off. Dr. Parvesh Pandya, wonderful zoologist and teacher of the highest order. This is your show now.
Thanks, Bittu. Yes, my young nature lovers, Mumbai is a fantastic place where you can visit a number of areas to see nature in its best form, very close to your house. I'd like to show some of the scenes where you can easily visit. Let's move on. Mumbai's rich shoreline gives us opportunities to watch animals which are along the sea coast, or as we call it as during the beach walk. You can see a number of animals. Here you can see the glowing zoanthids which can be seen even as close as Haji Ali and other rocky pools which are present in Mumbai. Here's a crab which you can notice against the backdrop of several skyscrapers. And if you look into the skies, you might see some migratory birds during the winter or resident birds flying across. Mumbai has more than 200 species of birds in and around the areas which we call as urban biodiversity. And then you have several species of birds which are also resident. These can be seen during the dry months, and some of these might be nesting as close as your own apartment gardens and small municipal gardens where you can see. Here's the blue button jellyfish, which was photographed at Haji Ali. And these kind of surprises lay around everywhere in Mumbai. Our very own Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary, which all of you recognize as Maharashtra Nature Park at Dharavi, used to be the old dumping ground for Mumbai's refuse and all kinds of garbage. And on that, a huge simulated forest has been created with a whole lot of medicinal plants and so on. Do make a visit there to see all kinds of birds, insects, and migratory birds along the creeks. In Thane, in Bhandup, at Airoli, you can see large numbers of migratory flamingos which are there right from December till almost April and May. Well, don't be surprised, you might see as many as 10 to 20,000 flamingos in one such visit. Across, if you go to Ghodbandar and also the Vasai and Thane creeks, you can see again mangroves, which are the nurseries for several species of animals, and feeding on that, several species of birds and other mammals. Our very own Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is almost 105 square kilometers, is a miracle, and Mumbai can boast of having the only national park in the world where within the municipal limits there's a wild cat roaming free, and that's the leopard. But apart from the leopard, there are more than 280 species of birds, and there are a myriad flowering plants, trees, insects, reptiles, smaller mammals, and so on. In the last 2016 year, we had this Karvi flowering, which flowers only once in 8 years. This is a spectacle because all flowers appear synchronized at the same time. Try and visit next time in 2024 during the months of September and October, when you can see these flowers looking so beautiful like blue bulbs in the forest. And yes, it is here that you can see the leopard against the backdrop of the Mumbai skyline, and then you don't have to go far away. There are places in Mumbai itself like the Malabar Hill where you can see the peacock and several species of falcons and birds which nest even on the ledges of the skyscrapers. Darshan Khatau has been lucky to photograph this humpback dolphin. And do keep yourself updated by reading The Cub and the Sanctuary magazine, always available not only as hard copy but also as e copies on your mobile or on your parents' laptop or PC.